Hey, welcome to the Peculiar Ones podcast, or to the Tribal Way Instagram, Facebook, YouTube channel. Mark Campbell here, and I am sitting in a creek reflecting on the events of the last week. I can't get over it. I'm actually blown away. I am sitting in a creek that's become sacred to my wife and I wanted to share a little 3,000-year-old poem. Now, a lot of you guys are following along on the Tribal Way, my Instagram, on the Peculiar Ones podcast, YouTube channel. And what we're doing is we're encouraging people to live as the masterpieces that they've been created to be. I happen to believe in a creator, and I believe that creator has created all of us unique, individuals, special, one of a kind, masterpieces, says the good book. And I happen to believe and have spent a lifetime studying and unpacking the good book, not through religious eyes, but through contextual eyes, ancient eyes, sacred eyes. And I've spent the last 24 years looking at culture, looking at my life, and looking at history, and looking at modern life through the prism of the ancient scrolls. I think there's a lot of wisdom in there. I don't care what your beliefs are. If you believe in a creator, that's where it begins. Call it a bang. Call it the spirit that thrust the universe into motion for the first time. Call it God. Call it the universe, the power, the spirit, Yahweh, El Shaddai, Elohim. We can go on. The life force that gives life, God, the creator, caused a few people throughout history, men and women, to write a few things down. I'm going to read a little 6 stanzas in a poem that my daughter and I memorized together in a hot tub when she was like 4 and 5 years old. It's one of my most precious scriptures. And I think there's a lot of wisdom in it. I don't want to get all wanky and woo-woo-y and hippy-dippy and religious-y and all that. But I think there's wisdom in the ancient scrolls, and I think such a time as now, we'd be wise to consult some wisdom, some ancients that have gone through a lot more than we're going through right now, as inconvenient as this is. And I want to also share that it's a really, I think it's a normal time to be concerned, moments of anxiety, worry, maybe even fear. Fear can be a helpful thing and a thing that's not so helpful. And so I want to encourage you to lean into what you're feeling. I think part of this reset, this global pause, is probably people thought too much and didn't feel enough, if you know what I'm saying. We were on such a mental plane for so long that life was at such a pace, I think, in a sense, it was unsustainable. Duh. So nature kicked in, caused the thing to slow down a little bit, caused some people to have to rethink some things. And so for the next month or two, I'm going to be just kind of taking a peculiar stance, kind of an upstream stance. Peculiar means upstream when everything's going downstream, and kind of throw some things out there for you guys to chew on that I'm chewing on. Throw some things out there that might be helpful in times like this. I'm choosing to be a man that is going to try to help people through this. Though I don't know what to do in a lot of arenas, but I do have a few things that I've found very helpful for me in my life, and especially in times like this. You know, we got a pandemic on our, probably a lot of us in our communities, and we're going to start to hear about a lot of people we know and become people that get sick. I was the 11th known person to contract a disease. I'm not sure if it was a virus. I don't know. Disease called wound botulism. Botulism's got various forms. But I fell, out of a tree, broke my arm, compound fracture, which is the bone comes through the skin, and 6, 8, 10 weeks later, I start sleeping 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day. 3 months goes by, 18 hours a day, 20 hours a day. I couldn't eat. I couldn't swallow. My muscles from my waist up were dying. Somebody read about me in a medical journal in Boston and realized it was wound botulism. They wanted to amputate my arm. I had a Sharpie mark on my arm. They were going to amputate my arm to slow the thing down. They knew it came from my arm, my wound, but they didn't know what it was. Guy reads about me in a medical journal in Boston, calls my mom and dad and says, I think I've cured the first person, the 10th known person to get it. Can I come out and unapproved drugs and try to help your son? I'm 12 years old at the time, 6th grade. My mom and dad go, sure. Wound botulism, horse serum, some kind of serum from a horse. And here I am today. 13th known person. So the girl was the first survivor. She was the 12th. I was the 13th known person to have it, second survivor. So when I think, your odds are pretty good to not get the corona, I'm getting it. If I'm number 13 on wound botulism, I got a high probability to get it. You know what I'm saying? But this psalm, this poem, has brought me such comfort in times like these that I wanted to share it with you. I'm just going to read it. I'm going to make a couple observations. We're going to go about our day. This is from a guy named David. He's probably about 15, 16, 17 years old when he wrote this. Became the king of Israel. He's the guy that actually united the 12 different family tribes of Israel and actually founded the city of Jerusalem, and really kind of a heavy hitter. But when he was a kid, he was a runt, forgotten by his brothers, and he was a shepherd, which was the lowliest job in the family, and he outside of Bethlehem. And he wrote 2 psalms at that time of his life, poems, songs, thoughts. He was kind of a songwriter, musician, shepherd. One Psalm 19, one Psalm 23. Very famous. If you've been to any funerals, I don't know why people read them at funerals, because this is a poem of life, how to live, not how to pass. It's how to live. And it's, the Lord is my shepherd. Starts off with a proclamation. My Creator guides me. Shepherds take care of the sheep. The primary role of the shepherd is to have healthy, happy, migrating, moving through life and through times, and through good pastures and bad pastures. The primary role of the shepherd is to keep those sheep safe because he loves them and they're his investment. His identity, in some sense, rests on his sheep. The Lord is my shepherd. I have a Creator, and he's for me. It's a big step. I have a source, a spirit, a life source, the Creator. My world, my belief system, my God is my shepherd. I'm coming to a place where I'm going to let him guide me through this, not the news media, though they're going to give me some good information, but they won't be able to guide me like a shepherd, like my personal keeper. Man, I don't want to get all preachy, but come on. We all got to say, at some point, can you help me? 12-step, AA. I've come to a place where I need help from my Maker, from my higher power. Again, I'm not trying to convert nobody. I'm telling you my belief, no matter what your belief, that's a healthy damn statement. I got a shepherd, and he's for me. He makes me lie down in green meadows, and he leads me beside streams, life-giving streams. And in those 2 spaces, he restores my soul. I can't help but think how many streams and green meadows I've marched past in the last 10 years of my life in pursuit of my goals. You know, I'm thinking about last night, my wife and I went through our calendar for our year and literally crossed out almost everything. You know, and I got to be thinking about what my Creator was thinking 2 and 3 weeks ago when I was making all these plans and had all these and this appointment. We're going to do this on this day. And my shepherd said, pause. Go sit by the creek. Go find some living waters, some streams, some things that are going to help you in this new normal, some things that are good for your soul, Call some people that are good for you. I got a friend last night from Siege. Good call from CJ, a little FaceTime, just connecting, catching up. What's up? Crazy times. Wanted to say hi to a couple of friends, and there was a connection. It was good for my soul. That's a stream. That's a meadow of nourishment. I have other people that I have to reach out to. I have other neighbors that I really don't know that I want to make sure they're okay. They're elderly. Hey, do you need some help? You want me to go to the store for you? There's rivers and streams. It says he guides me along right paths. When my soul is right, he guides me to do the right things, to look for people that need help. I was in a line yesterday at the hardware store, and the lady was so discombobulated, and she's checking a guy out at 7:30 in the morning. He's got a grocery cart full of paper towels and Lysol. Bro, it's 7:30. This chick's just trying to open the cash register. I'm behind him with one plumbing fitting, and he won't look back. And I says, I'm going to choose to be the wiser, more patient, life-giving individual in this situation. Not judge him. He's probably in a state of panic. He's never faced a pandemic before. I even said to her, have you ever checked out a guy full of Lysol and paper towels at 7:30 in the morning in the middle of a pandemic before? Global? She said, no. I said, you're doing great. You're nailing it. To look for opportunities to give the same life I'm receiving from my Creator. To be good news, not the daily news. To point people to true north, not to another set of things that are frightening and frankly, nobody really knows. We got a sense of what's going to happen and what we should do, but there's such a mystery involved in this whole thing. He guides me along the right paths, bringing honor to his name, bringing honor to who he is as his people walk with him. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. This is huge. You know, when you're walking through those valleys, those dark times, this is a time such as that. We are entering a valley that's got shadows of death. People are going to actually die. I might get sick and die. Even in times of the darkest valleys, those depressing, anxiety-filled moments of uncertainty and insecurity and fear grips us, maybe job loss or reforming of job or kids, all the uncertainties. I myself, uncertain. I woke up last night at 11 o'clock, woke up wide awake, just uncertain about stuff. Walked around the neighborhood. It was kind of fun. Had a nice interaction with a cop in my pajamas on East Cliff Drive. No ID in my slippers. Like, uh-oh. Just kind of woke up, walked around the neighborhood, just kind of uncertain. It's important that we don't let the shadows of the valley of the shadow of death take over. And a shadow makes things appear bigger or scarier or worse than they really are. That's what a shadow does. We sit here every Monday night, my wife and I in this creek, and we really reflect on what our Creator's allowing us to go through and become and what we're being pulled to and what we're involved in. And there's bats that fly through here, and there's big egress birds that fly through here, and hawks and owls. And sometimes when the sun's setting just right, if we get a little butterfly that goes between us and the sun, it looks like there's this big hawk coming through the trees. It's a butterfly. Same thing is true of the valley of the shadow of death. When things start to go wrong, hey, my son's barbershop had to close for 3 weeks minimum, maybe longer. Everybody's had to adjust everything. My calendar's wide open and clean. What's going to happen with the money? Our hot water heater broke yesterday. Hello, great timing. You know, it's like all these things can appear bigger than they are. Hot water is really nice. Not necessary. It's really nice. I took a hot shower this morning and was able to fix it. But not necessary, because I'm in the valley of the shadow of death, and I can't start to allow the shadows of what's going to happen, what's next, all the naysayers cast big shadows. That stuff will suck your soul dry. And the reason why our Creator allows us to find streams of living water and green pastures that restore our souls is because he cares about us, or she, it, the Spirit, cares about us and is for us. And I want to encourage you to look for the pastures, the things that bring health, not death, life, not destruction. This is a great opportunity for us to fall back into bad habits, waste a lot of time on TV, internet, fall back into bad addictions, step out of a 12-step program, get away from community, isolate. And I'm going to challenge you, because I love you, because you're part of my community, to lean into the health that our Creator puts before us, to lean into the people that are good for us, the habits that are good for us, the diets that are good for us, so that our souls can be renewed, so that we're worth something to the people around us, so that we can be a people that help the people around us through this pandemic, that need us level-headed and compassionate and clear-minded and certain. And I'm certain that I have a shepherd that's for us and you, and he leads us alongside of things that are good for us, and he directs our path even though we're going through the valley of the shadow of death. And he says, you prepare a feast for me in the presence of my frightening moments, in the presence of my enemies, and in the presence of this corona. You prepare a feast for me. You honor me by anointing my head, which means you give me blessings. And it even says, you honor me with blessing my head with oil, and my cup overflows with blessings. Do you realize the relationships I've had, including my just connection with some people yesterday online and on the phone, and sat around a table last night with my son and my daughter and my wife and just counted our blessings. This medium that we get to enjoy, the fact that the planet is coming together in a way that I've never seen. We're all concerned and learning from each other and for each other and not blaming each other. It'll get there. It'll get blame game. Don't kid yourself. But for now, it's like I'm sitting on this little creek right here with all these ancient trees. And it's like when you walk it through the forest, you're on a deck of roots. They're all intertwined. And for the first time in my lifetime, the planet is all talking and thinking about the same thing, though it's negative. But coming out through the other side is blessing, including just last night. Time with family. No sports are happening. No distraction. The walk last night, I met a cop stopped me. Hey, where you at? Well, I'm just walking around the neighborhood. I actually live here. Whoa, you got ID? I don't. In my slippers and my pajamas. We had a nice conversation. I would have never met that guy. It's a blessing. He's my friend. It's a blessing. There's blessings in the middle of the valleys of the shadow of death. So I hope you find your creeks. I hope you look for your creeks. I hope you look for people to help. Old people that need maybe some help going to the store, that are frightened to go outside and maybe even answer the door. You're in your community, in your sphere. Co-workers. Go to the restaurants where people need money. Your waitress, your waiter, the people that you know in your community. For many people, financial times right now are going to go through the roof. My son got a call from a client of his. He owns Ways and Fades Barbershop. It's closed. Who knows how long? He goes, hey, bro, do you need some money? Can I give you 300, 400? What? That's a guy looking to bless people, not how to stay away from people. Though he's staying away from them, he called them. You got to be commonsensical. I'm not saying be fools, but I'm saying look around. Look for those streams. Look for the meadows of health. Both those restore your soul. Stay away from them shadows. Call some things out as shadows. And build your new normal. This thing ain't going away. This is just the beginning. We're going to get through it together. And count your blessings. They're all around. Peace.